Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're doing a discussion going deeper into structure deck power of Fellows. This is the new structure deck based around Yusei Fudo, the main character from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. That's the third iteration of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. Some people say it's the best. I think it's definitely up there. So this is really exciting, especially coming off of last year being Blue Eyes and one of the most successful structure decks we've really seen in years, competitively speaking, and just, I have to assume, sales-wise, because it's Blue Eyes, maybe the most popular archetype in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or at least monster, which the archetype is based around. And so this one's another big one. This is another main character, 8 new cards, huge wave. So let's go into some of the more nitty gritty here. We know the basic information here. It's going to come out September 6th in the OCG, which means, they'll probably start doing some reveals. Maybe the late June is maybe the first reveals, and then into July, and maybe some in August, and then and then it'll come out here in September for the OCG. We'll probably get it December, maybe January is kind of the timeline I would expect for the TCG. As for what we know there, we really don't know much. It's just 8 cards, the date it's coming out, and it's Yusei based. That being said, there's a ton of information we kind of can dig deeper into. So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of the breakdown I would expect from this, right? Looking at the Blue Eyes structure deck, we saw that the breakdown was 2 new main deck monsters, 2 new main deck spells, 1 new main deck trap, and 3 extra deck monsters, a Link, a Synchro, and an Xyz. Now, I don't necessarily expect that because Blue Eyes didn't really have a set in stone summoning type that they're just locked into, whereas this archetype is Synchro based. It is from 5Ds. I wouldn't be surprised, even if there is 3 extra deck monsters, if all 3 are Synchro based, right? So that's kind of where you start. The way I look at it is most likely will follow a pretty similar path to what we just saw. So my best guess to start would be probably 2 to 3 main deck monsters. Definitely 2, maybe 3. We'll see. 2 main deck spells make sense. 1 main deck trap. They just love doing 1 token trap in every big wave of support recently, whether it's a core set support for like the the main the main card on the main archetype on like the cover of the core set, or a structure deck. They just love doing a trap card in every one of those waves. It's just a staple these days, so I do expect that. And then 2 or 3 extra monsters, 1 or the 2. So I think it'll be very similar to Blue Eyes. It's like, but they could maybe take away 1 of the extra deck slots and give it to another main deck monster, give it to another synchron monster, a new junk monster, whatever they decide to do. That's another point I want to talk about as well, is we don't fully know the direction they're going to take this in. They just call this, what is this? Power of Fellows. Yusei uses a couple different things, right? He uses junk monsters early. He uses some random monsters early. He uses Stardust cards. He uses and then in the extract, he uses like his warrior monsters or his junk monsters kind of in the extract. So he uses kind of a combination of a couple different things. There's nothing that says he's going to do Stardust stuff. We got Stardust support a couple years ago, recently in a core set. So I actually think it's more likely they lean more into his like junk synchron side of things as opposed to heavy Stardust support, which is what we saw last time. So I'm curious what direction they actually take it in, but that's what I would guess if I had to pick one there. And then aside from that, we'll get at the end, there's some cool stuff here, but just running through some of the stuff we already know that this archetype kind of has going for it that's really nice. Couple consistency cards. Tuning is just phenomenal. It adds a synchron and then mills a card. That's good. On your market set, duel. This card kind of came out way after that deck was mainly playable, but this card's good, man. On activation, if you control no cards, add a synchron from deck to hand, and then it gives you potential benefits down the line as well. Junk Converter, you can pitch this and a tuner. That even means like an Ash Blossom, a Veiler you could pitch with this and still just add a synchron from deck to hand, which is pretty good, especially since this is a level 2 non-tuner. So just searching junk synchron is getting you into a play pretty quickly. You have Stardust Synchron. This is another just good one. Searches you for like a Stardust spell or trap, as well as being like a way to reborn itself as a tuner, which is cool. Revolution Synchron, really good card. Extends from hand and then potentially reborns as well. Like this card a lot. This is a really good addition to the Synchron lineup. Quick Draw is a classic one. Just pitch a card from hand to summon it from your hand. Or I'm sorry, from the hand, and then Uh, he is only able to be used as a synchro material for a monster that mentions a synchron tuner as material, but I could see a world where they make him playable. He's just such a classic one. And he's not even awful. He just like it's just that lock has always been brutal post like those types of synchros actually being good. Assault Synchron is just another solid tuner that jumps out of the hand. Um, Junk Sermon's a card that has spiked recently just because it's has junk in the name and it jumps out of the hand fairly easily. Not a great card though. Junk Synchron's fun. Just normal and special. It's like a Wolf Bark, but a more restrictive one. It's fine. It's actually a decent card, and again, kind of similar to not Assault, but Quick Draw. I could see Konami saying this card is such an integral, cool part of Yusei's old strategy. Let's build the new support in a way that makes like Junk Synchron like actually like come up and make sense in the deck and actually be played. I could easily see that happening. Junk Forwards in here. Again, just a junk monster that jumps on the field. I'm not going to complain about it. Jet Synchron, another solid Synchron monster, especially if you can pull it out of the deck easily. It is just an extender from hand fairly easily. Then you have like an extender like Starlight's Junction, just being able to like get another tuner out of the deck, as well as if you synchro on the opponent's turn, being able to just shuffle a card for extra interruption. It's an interesting card for sure. Junk Speeder. This card is the cream of the crop. This card is the number one reason to have really fear, I would say, of this structure deck, and I have fear for it as much as I think it's cool, and I actually like a lot about Yusei and 5Ds and this archetype. My problem is Junk Speeder. This card is Ice Old. This card is Hauki Fibrax. This card is just, if this choke point resolves, you are in trouble. And I don't like decks that have stuff like that, especially if they're really good at playing through this getting interrupted. Then it's even more crazy. But this card's insane, obviously. You can read it once and you're just like, wow, being locked into synchros is not a big enough restriction for a card that just says summon up to 5 synchrons from deck. It's crazy. Excel Synchron, really good card as well. It's a level 5 tuner that just when it's summon, or not even on summon, but once per turn, you can just foolish a Synchron as cost. So good graveyard Synchro monsters like Jet Synchron or Stardust Synchron, just being able to foolish them for free here is just really nice. Like that card a lot. Satellite Warrior on summons just blowing up the field. XL Synchro Stardust Dragon. This is a card that hasn't existed, I think, since like this deck was also good. This card just allows you to keep Synchro climbing, turn an 8 into a 10 or a 9 and keep going. It's really good. Junk Destroyer again on Synchro Summon just pops cards on the field. Just pretty good especially if we're able to make this on the opponent's turn as a quick effect for sure. Kind of same thing with Jet Warrior on summon. You're bouncing a card. It can also come back from grave later on. So even as a Synchro climb tool, I could see this card being nice. Formula Synchron, if we have a way to just get this card out easily, it's a draw on summon. It's a quick effect synchro on the opponent's turn. Can't complain about it. Junk Connector is an interesting one. It's kind of the final card I have here for like the main stuff that I know this archetype already has going for it. It lets you just quick synchro with monsters it points to. It's really not that good aside from that. There's a world they try to force this to be like an important piece, but to me, it feels like it's a little too niche. Doesn't actually do enough on its own. You have to summon this and have ways to put monsters under it. It doesn't do enough on its own, and aside from that. And then for the interesting cards that I want to mention, stuff like Sonic Chick and Speed Warrior, these are classic cards that are not junk cards, are not synchron cards, but Yusei uses them and uses them fairly regularly, especially early in the show. I could easily see a world where, similar to like Luna's recent archetype with like the Ancient Fairy Dragon stuff, where they took that lion guy and they took Karibon, and you know what I mean? I think they took another one of her cards. Can't remember what it was, but 3 monsters that she kind of used, they gave them retrained versions that like work in her archetype and go from there. So if they make a Sonic Chick that has Synchron in its name or Junk in its name, and same thing for Speed Warrior, that'd be such a cool tie-in to make like these cards that we just really link to Yusei in our brains, like actually have like a place in the archetype and still kind of tie those in. The other one would be Junk Warrior. I didn't put him in here. Sorry for not having him in here, but that's a cool one where like Junk Warrior itself is just not a good card for modern day standards, but we've seen stuff like this. That can be their Blue Eyes, right? Where Blue Eyes is ass, but you knew we were going to have to play it with the new Blue Eyes stuff, and so they just built the deck really cleanly around it, right? And it's a really good engine to like get you into more stuff. If they potentially give us extract monsters where maybe it's an extract monster that says like you can just cheat this card out by tributing a junk warrior or a junk warrior. Junk warrior you have on field for free. So like basically it just means making junk warrior is making this new boss monster, good end board piece. And then junk warrior is like, all right, we're making him. And we're making a cool, bigger form of junk warrior now. Like I could see them easily making him part of the situation there. But obviously everything's still up in the air. This is obviously super early thoughts. This is just looking at what we already have, looking at what we've seen recently from this type of product and kind of getting some early predictions out on that. But that's kind of everything I have for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below if you're excited for this product and you're a big fan of YUSEI. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Are there other cards aside from like Sonic Chicken Speed Warrior that you kind of tie to YUSEI from the anime or something that you're like, they should try and tie that in? Or even just your thoughts on, do they lean to the junk side? Do they lean to the Synchron side? Do they lean more Stardust? What do they do there? Let me know what you want to see down in the comment section below. Stick scary, man. The last time this like Synchron deck was playable, it was like hand rip, like go first and hand rip your opponent type deck. So it's very scary for that reason. But who knows? Maybe they'll give support that kind of similar to Gem Knights, pointed them away from their past degenerate self. But we'll see. I'm out of here for today. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel for more things from me down the line, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.